Hello MotoGP fans. Welcome back to ZNGP Today. KTM's test rider Dani Pedrosa has given an upbeat update on the factory's MotoGP program for 2027, covering engines, aerodynamics, new Pirelli tires and the regulatory shakeup. Speaking from inside the project, Pedrosa says development is on schedule, but cautions that tire integration and rule changes will separate the quick adapters from the rest. Ducati team manager Davide Tardozzi has offered one of the most revealing assessments yet of Marc Márquez's resurgence. Speaking in the DAZN documentary Volver, Tardozzi explains why this version of Márquez, forged by injury, setbacks and reflection, may be the most complete rider Ducati has ever worked with. This is not just a story of victories, but of transformation. Luca Marini has closed out the 2025 season with a clear message. His move to Honda's factory squad doesn't mean he's breaking ties with the VR46 Academy. After a season that included a serious test crash, a mid-year absence and a strong second half, Marini spoke about loyalty, workload and where his priorities lie. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. Pedrosa confirmed KTM's 2027 power plant has passed important early milestones. Initial dyno runs have been completed and the program is tracking the timeline set by Mattighofen. That doesn't mean the full bike is ready to hit the track yet. KTM is deliberately pacing the rollout. But it does mean the core elements, design, basic reliability, control systems, have shown enough promise to keep the project on plan. For a manufacturer juggling restructuring and a new shareholder, meeting these milestones without shortcuts is a sign the program's governance is working. So far, everything is going according to the timeline KTM has set for the new bike. In short, the engine looks stable in the lab, and KTM is resisting pressure to rush to on-track validation until the tire picture is clearer. Pedrosa was blunt about the Pirelli switch. It's not a small tweak. It's a potentially game-changing variable. New tire compounds alter everything from braking feel to chassis stiffness and corner exit aggression. Even a reliable engine can be hamstrung if the contact patch behaves differently to what the bike was designed around. That's why KTM is waiting for the Pirelli samples before committing to full-track shakedowns. Integration of tire and chassis is now the gating factor in the development roadmap. It's quite significant, really. It's very radical. Expect teams that understand tire behavior first to gain an early advantage, and KTM is explicitly prioritizing doing that work right. The 2027 technical rules will reduce aero dependence and ban certain electronic aids, which should put more control back into the rider's hands. Pedrosa welcomes that shift. Less aero and fewer automatic assists mean starts, recoveries and corner exits become more skill-dependent, and races can open up into larger, genuine battles. For KTM, whose program emphasizes rider feel and adaptability, these changes represent an opportunity to exploit strengths rather than a threat to stability. Yes, I think it's important. That importance is strategic. The rulebook changes could compress performance gaps if teams manage the tire and chassis integration effectively. Pedrosa closed with a practical assessment. The season won't be decided purely by power or budget, but by which bikes adapt quickest to the new rubber and rules. Some chassis may suit the Pirellis immediately, others will need heavier rework. He stressed that early testing with the proper tires will reveal who has the best starting base. KTM's approach, measured, tire-aware and methodical, is designed to position them among the early adapters rather than trailing behind. Who adapts first? Who understands first? Who perhaps has the best base from the start? That question is KTM's roadmap. Demonstrate a good base, integrate the tires correctly, and exploit the regulatory reset. Dani Pedrosa's update paints KTM's 2027 project as deliberate and pragmatic, engines validated in the lab, tire integration prioritized, and regulations viewed as an opportunity to bring the rider back into the equation. The big variable remains the new Pirelli tires, Get them right and KTM expects to be competitive. Misread them and any early gains could evaporate. As testing ramps up, the paddock will be watching two things closely. The first, on-track runs with Pirelli compounds, and which manufacturers translate those runs into consistent race pace first. Marc Márquez's latest title is already being written into MotoGP history, not only because of how decisively it was won, but because of what it represents. After years defined by surgeries, uncertainty, and doubt following the 2020 Jerez injury, Márquez has returned to the summit wearing Ducati red. His move to Borgo Panigale closed a painful chapter and opened a new one, marked by control, consistency, and authority across the season. For Ducati, this title carries symbolic weight. It validates their belief in Márquez when he arrived and confirms that his peak did not belong solely to the past. According to Tardozzi, this championship isn't simply about speed, it's about evolution. I think the real difference is being made by Marc's intelligence after the accident. Tardozzi's presence in the Ducati garage has been impossible to miss this season. His celebrations, emotions, and visible joy have become part of the team's identity, and he makes no apology for it. In his view, success must be lived fully, because racing careers, and racing seasons, can be brutally unforgiving. He stresses that celebration is not ego, but respect for the rider who risks everything, and for the engineers and mechanics whose work often goes unseen when results don't come. I like to celebrate victories because, as Gigi D'Allegna has always said, victories must be celebrated. Tardozzi speaks from experience when he describes how difficult professional life in motorsport can be. There are long periods without success, moments when rivals outperform you, and seasons where effort brings little reward. Against that backdrop, winning becomes something precious, something that deserves recognition, not restraint. This shared mindset has strengthened the bond between Márquez and the Ducati structure. They celebrate not just results, but survival, resilience, and the collective effort that brought them back to the top. That's why I like to win, I like to celebrate. And so does Marc. According to Tardozzi, the accident in 2020 didn't just change Márquez's career trajectory, it reshaped him as a person. Forced to confront limitations for the first time, Márquez learned patience, calculation, and emotional control. Where once instinct ruled everything, intelligence now shares the command. This maturity has influenced how he races, how he manages risk, and how he works with the team. Ducati sees a rider who understands when to attack, and when not to. He has matured a lot as a man. Tardozzi's conclusion is as striking as it is definitive. In his view, Ducati is not working with a diminished champion enjoying one last success, but with the most complete Márquez ever. Talent, experience, intelligence, and hunger now exist in balance. It's a combination forged by suffering and refined by time. And for Ducati, it explains why this comeback feels different from any previous triumph in Márquez's career. Right now we have the best Marc in history, the best person and the best rider together. Davide Tardozzi's words underline why Marc Márquez's comeback resonates so deeply inside Ducati. This title is not just proof of speed, but of growth. A rider who lost everything, learned from it, and returned stronger in mind as well as body. For Ducati, that intelligence may be the most dangerous weapon of all heading into the future of MotoGP. Rumors that Marini might drift away from the VR46 operation gained traction after his promotion to Honda's factory team. He dismissed them emphatically, stressing that the academy remains central to his life and identity. For Marini, the relationship with VR46 is not a professional convenience but a continuing personal bond, one he intends to honor whenever his calendar allows. That's not the case. That short but firm denial sets the tone. Factory seat or not, Marini sees himself as part of the VR46 family. Marini admitted reality has changed. Factory commitments bring more corporate events, meetings, and obligations than his earlier, private team days. That makes face-to-face time at the academy harder to arrange. Still, he he underlined a simple principle. Whenever he gets the chance, he's there with the riders and staff, keeping the connection alive through presence and mentorship. Whenever I can, I spend time with them. It's a pragmatic promise. Not everything can be constant, but the intent to remain involved is genuine. Marini was also careful to stress that his new factory role hasn't changed his priorities as a competitor. He's not becoming independent or drifting into celebrity duties. His focus remains on preparing and giving his best on race weekends for Honda. That professional clarity reassures both his new employer and the academy that his competitive drive hasn't softened. I'm not in any process of becoming independent. All I try to do is give 100% every weekend. That line answers the obvious worry. Marini's commitment to performance remains undiluted by new surroundings. The 2025 campaign was mixed for Marini. He missed 3 rounds after a heavy testing crash at Suzuka 8 hours but returned to produce his best results as a Honda rider in the season's second half, finishing 13th overall and close to rivals like Johann Zarco. Those later performances helped validate Honda's decision to confirm his seat for 2026 and showed Marini's value as both a racer and a development asset. Being together isn't so easy, but between us, everything is the same as always. The sentiment captures both the practical challenge and the emotional continuity. Life's busier, but the ties endure. Luca Marini's message is straightforward and steady. A factory ride doesn't mean leaving home. He's juggling increased duties and recovery from injury, but his priorities, VR46 loyalty and 100% effort on race weekends, remain unchanged. As he heads into 2026 at Honda, Marini's role looks set to be that of a committed factory rider who still carries the Academy's values with him. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time!